Each layer in your storyboards works independently in a panel and has the options that allow you to work faster and more efficiently. Now, the layer adjustment that I use most often is opacity, or also known as transparency. And the easiest way to do that is right up at top here above our layer menu. 100 is totally opaque. If it was set at 0, it would be totally transparent. So I can type in a new number, like I can just select 60 and hit enter, and this guy becomes somewhat transparent. I'm going to undo that. Now he's opaque again. Or I can select these little two arrows to the right of it, and it gives me a slider. I'll slide that to right around 60 again, and you can see the lines in the wood going back behind him. So now he's kind of like a ghostly character. So I might need to use this if I'm importing photos and I want to trace over it, or if I want a character to look ghostly, or maybe use a reflective image somewhere. Any number of reasons, or even to make your thumbnails really light so you can draw over them when you're cleaning up your artwork. If you want to follow along, just go to shot 16. I can also rotate selections or an entire layer. If I want to rotate just a selection, I'm drawing on a bitmap layer here. So I'll use my cutter tool. And let's say I want to rotate his mouth around. So I'll just select his mouth. And if I hover right outside of the selection box, I can have all sorts of fun rotating his mouth around to any angle I want and let go. Or if I want to do an entire layer, I use my selection tool and I can select everything that I want, or since it's a bitmap, any selection I make will select everything that's on that layer. Now let's zoom out a bit here so we can see everything. I'll use my little minus sign on magnifying glass here so I can see the entire character. And just like before, as long as I hover right outside the corner, I can rotate him around, and he's rotating away from his mouth. That looks creepy. And select off of that. Or, as long as I've got my selection tool selected, over here under my tool properties, I have options of rotating something 90 degrees clockwise or counterclockwise just by clicking on it every time I click on it. Now, if I want to adjust how I'm doing my rotation, let's select him again. Notice down here, this is our pivot point. Well, I can move this pivot point. Let's say we move it over right to his nose. So now when I rotate, he's rotating on his nose. All right, that looks pretty good right there. Now, another helpful thing that you can do is you can actually flip your drawings, either vertically or horizontally. Now, the fastest and easiest, again, is here under Tool Properties. And you see these little arrows. So if I select this one, every time I click on it, he flops back and forth horizontally. Or if I click here, he flips back and forth vertically. Another way to do that is under my Tools drop down, and I can come down to Transform, and I can flip horizontal or flip vertical. And notice it also gives me my keyboard shortcuts. So let's go ahead and click on this. Flip vertical. There he goes. You know what? That doesn't look very good. So now I'm going to use my keyboard shortcut we just saw. Hold down the Alt key, click on V, and he flips vertically again back to the way I'd prefer seeing him. Now, you may also want to be turning off layers, such as if we have our thumbnail, which is turned off right now because notice the eyeballs are gone. If I click on the eyeballs, my thumbnail drawing shows back up. Click that back off. It's a lot faster and easier than erasing. Just turn on and off layers as you're working. So keeping your storyboard drawings separated into layers as you work definitely gives you a lot more options for editing and adjusting. And these adjustments make working digitally much more efficient than you ever could be while working on paper.